afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Karen Seitz, and I'm the lead teacher for the relationship program here at A New Life Center. And I've been training and working with A New Life Center's programs for almost 4 years and applying all the concepts and perspectives that we're teaching. I'm applying those in my own marriage and in my own life. And today I am here with Peggy Litt, who is the founder of A New Life Center. Peggy, do you want to take a moment and introduce yourself to our viewers today?
Sure. Thank you, Karen. I have been working with women and actually men also on themselves for about 10 years and on themselves and in their relationships. So I have gone through all of these processes and it has changed my life totally. And I'm very happy to be able to share it with you all.
Thank you, Peggy. So before we get into our topic for today, I want to remind everyone in the group the 3 focus points for our group, which are: you are responsible for your happiness, and that happiness comes from the inside. It doesn't come from what other people are doing or not doing, or the external values in your marriage. It comes from within. And the other focus point is you can only change yourself. There's nothing you can do to change your husband. And also there's nothing that your husband can do to change your experience. You are the only one that can change you. And that authentic intimacy is having a relationship with yourself and doing the work to see how you feel bad about yourself or how you are unhappy, so that you can feel good about yourself and have a strong relationship with you. And the other reminder is that this work is for people who are willing to see themselves in these things. You have to be willing to take responsibility and want to be honest with yourself and see how the concepts we're presenting, how they show up in your life and how they show up in your marriage. And that all of this is in the context of being with a good man. We all have problems and challenges in our marriage because it's hard work. But that this is for people who are generally good people and have normal marital problems, even if those are on a spectrum. So, Peggy, anything you want to add to that?
Yes. We're not going to teach you how to act differently. We're going to help you change so you are different. If we only teach you how to act differently, 6 months down the road, all the old behaviors are going to come back and you're going to get bit in the butt and you're going to be in the same situation you are now. So we understand some of these concepts are very triggering, and we have to be more committed to our listeners' outcome than we are of our fear of being rejected by you all. You want to be helped. I can feel that in your correspondence to us. To do that, we have to start by being honest. As uncomfortable as that is sometimes, that is the only way to change.
Thank you, Peggy. It can be really challenging to be honest and see these things in ourselves. I know for me, I had so much story built up about who I wanted to think that I was, and painted this pretty picture of who I wanted to be and how I wanted others to see me. Yet I was still really challenged in my life and really challenged in my marriage and in other relationships. And life was showing me that I wasn't who I was pretending to be. And it wasn't until I looked at those hard things about myself that I really could be that genuine, kind, loving person that I am in my heart. But I have to do the hard work of seeing where I'm not those things and where I'm an imposter in my life to really know that as a true expression of who I am.
Well, and that is just a trait of being human. It doesn't make you wrong. So we're trying to normalize all of this for you so you don't get so triggered that you can't hear what we're saying.
Thanks, Peggy. And so I think that's a great place to jump into our topic today, which is being stubborn versus being strong. And Peggy, how did this come up? Why did you want to talk about this today?
Well, I have been working with several clients of mine on helping them let go of stubborn. And what I am seeing both in my work and my work with them, because I had the same thing too, is that we come into this world without being able to care for ourselves. The only way we can get what we need is by crying. And if that doesn't work, we'll cry harder. And if that doesn't work, we'll kick and scream. And that sets us up to be stubborn. The only thing is, no one teaches us to be strong necessarily. And what happens is we take what is really stubborn, which is such a cheap, knocked off version of strong, and we carry that into our adult life, thinking that's how we get things done. That's how we get our way. And we're using something we created probably as a 2-year-old to try and create our life as an adult. You know, so many of my clients say, oh, my partner drinks too much, but if I say something to him about it, he automatically starts drinking in front of me. You know, well, then she gets triggered and she starts acting like a 2-year-old, and the night goes downhill from there. So I know it sounds weird, and I know I used to think, oh, I can be stubborn once in a while, but I didn't really realize that's what I was using as my strength either. And if you're using a 2-year-old stubbornness for your strength, that's why you can't really step into the world and accomplish what you want to accomplish. You have no strength behind you. Yeah. And I wrote out a definition of both strong and stubborn. And for me, strong is knowing right from wrong and choosing what is right, having integrity, being an adult, and choosing the harder way. And for me, as stubborn, how I got my way as a child, temper tantruming, pushing all limits, not stopping to calm down and feel what is really going on inside of me.
I really like that last one, Peggy, not stopping to feel what's really going on, because I think that is one of the biggest walls we hit in a relationship or in our marriage is we become so reactive to thinking that it's what our husband is doing or not doing or what he's saying or not saying, that there's no pausing to look at what's really going on in me. How can I show up differently in this moment to change my own experience? That stubborn comes from a place of really focusing on our partners and wanting them to change what's going on.
Well, it's kind of like this runaway train that you can't seem to stop, even if you want to, you know. Some of the statements that my clients use to define themselves as stubborn: I can't feel myself. I dig my heels in. I won't be swayed. There's only one way, my way. I must be in pain and cause others pain. It is my only strength. My walls are completely up. No one gets in. Everyone is wrong but me, even if I don't really believe it. I can't be wrong. And Karen, I think you have a couple too.
Yeah.
That
for me, when I looked at this in myself, and I just want to note really quickly, this ties into taking responsibility. It's not that this happened to me. This is something that I created in myself to protect me in my life and ultimately get my way. And so I have to own these things 100% as who I am, not what happened to me as a child or not my upbringing, in order to let it go. And so in looking at this for myself, stubborn, my definition was actually self-preservation, that it's how I preserve myself, and why I needed that, why I created that in myself was because I had a belief about myself that I am fragile. And what that meant was easily broken. And that's why we show up, for, well, at least for me, in uncovering this. And oh my gosh, when I did this work with Peggy, talk about stubborn, I didn't go here because I thought if I let this go, I'm just going to be annihilated and I won't exist. I need this, which it's not true, because when I look at myself and how much I've changed and how much I've grown and what I've been able to accomplish for myself, and I'm not fragile. That's just a belief. And I think we show up so fragile and thinking we're easily broken in our relationships. And we don't want to work through the hurt and pain, or even accept that hurt and pain comes with the package of having a relationship. So it feels so good to let this go and know that there's another way to show up.
Well, and I was using my stubborn as my strength, which, oh my gosh, that's so tinny. My innate strength is so much bigger than that. But you can't know yourself as that till you let go of your stubborn.
Yeah. And I unfortunately, it's not showing who some of these comments are from our viewers that are watching, but someone in our group has said, I always thought stubborn was my strength and power, and I wanted to hold on to it at all costs.
Yes.
So clearly this is recognizable and definitely shows up.
I promise you, if you let us help you let go of your stubborn, you're going to see how much strength and power you really have. And this stubbornness is set up so we don't get hurt, so we get what we want. And I asked a client of mine if I could read something that she wrote on being hurt. And this is really good. The reality of my experience is that I have never been hurt. To contradict this, my mind, my memory, started listing off all the numerous occasions I was convinced I was so hurt in my life. I looked closer at them and nope, not hurt. How could this be? What did it mean? I certainly felt a lot of emotional pain, but looking underneath that, I had to admit, no hurt. Excuse me. My expectations were dashed. My ulterior motives were thwarted. My agendas and childish wants were twisted and broken. In short, I didn't get my way. I had to ask myself, is that actually being hurt? Again, no, not hurt. Just disappointed, victimy, frustrated, impatient, and angry and the like, but no, not actually hurt. This was relevant to me. I've gone my entire life in some pretty tough and hard situations and not actually been hurt. Imagine that. All of that time I spent convincing me I was hurt, broken, destroyed, unloved, unwanted, and on and on. It wasn't true. None of it. I just didn't get my way. I created situation after situation demanding my way while setting me up for emotional pain, but never once actually hurt. So, Karen, what is the difference between hurt and emotional pain for our listeners?
Good question. Hurt to me means that the damage it can't be undone. That in some way I'm broken, I've been been hurt beyond repair. And for me, I would hold on to, and there's still plenty left to sift through and work through, but I would hold on to past hurts so that I didn't have to actually feel through the emotional pain and let it go. Hurt has this connotation that it can't ever be healed. And emotional pain is just what your client talked about in the articulation of being angry or frustrated or, even sad or feeling unloved or feeling unwanted. If I recognize that that's happening inside of me, that I'm the one creating that, then that's a really good thing. Difficult to see, but very empowering, because if it's coming from inside of me and I'm the one creating that, then that means that I'm the one that can actually let it go and heal from it.
Well, and what this articulation was about expectations again, which we talked about last week. So between expectations and us being stubborn, oh my gosh, we're just waiting to fail.
Yeah, it's like my expectations almost become or I should say my stubbornness become the root of those expectations, because I really think that I should be getting those things, or that should be something that should be being provided for me in my relationship. So then when it doesn't happen, I stay stubborn in my hurt and stay stubborn in my pain, waiting for my husband to change in some way, which is completely futile because it's not happening.
Well, and when you realize you're stubborn in your stubbornness, you set up those expectations, and you created your stubbornness probably when you were 2 years old. How adult are our relationships really? And men probably have set up their stubbornness at that same age too, and that's why things can get out of control so fast when one person is digging in their heels.
Yeah, and it feels so freeing and again so empowering to be able to recognize when I am being stubborn or really stuck in my ways and waiting for things to change outside of me. When I can recognize that and realize that I have a choice in how I'm experiencing myself and how I'm showing up. There was a time not too long ago where my husband and we have date night on Fridays, and I got home on a Friday afternoon and I was in a crabby mood and definitely in my stubbornness. And I could see the disappointment on my husband's face.
Yeah.
Because date night is supposed to be for fun and having quality time together. And I just unloaded my own crabbiness and mood onto him. And I'm so grateful to be able to have a way to look at that in myself and realize that I had a choice. So I went into our bedroom for a minute and had a conversation with myself. And I usually do this out loud. And I was like, okay, Karen, what's going on with you? Do you want to muscle your way through this night and make it a disaster? Or do you want to show up in your heart and with your walls down and have some fun and have a totally different experience? So looking at these things and seeing your stubbornness actually allows you to then open up to having choice of how you're going to show up. So Peggy, how's that been for you, or how do you experience that?
Since I have let go of stubbornness, I can look at the situation and see my two choices so clearly. And without that whirlwind of stubbornness, that loss of control of myself, I can make that choice very easily and from my heart. And in it, all of the tantrumy goes away like that. And I can feel like an adult. I can feel proud of myself. I can feel strong within myself and go, I got this. It'll be okay now. And as soon as I come from that place, my partner automatically meets me there. But we have to be adult if we want our partners or husbands to be adult-like.
And I think that's one of the hardest things about this perspective is really trusting that when you change these things in yourself, that it really, really, really does change how your husband or how your partner shows up with you. But you can't know that until you're willing to look at these things and change in a real and profound way to show up differently because you've changed. You can't know that your husband will respond differently until you walk through that, until you experience it. Otherwise, we just dig our heels in. And like I put in a post yesterday, then it's like, yeah, well, you don't know my husband. And that's just a defense mechanism. That's coming from a place of being stubborn, not wanting to see things a different way, not wanting to question your reality and get curious about, maybe there is a different way, because we get so set in our ways.
Well, I just had this vision of a daycare and a baby having a temper tantrum and crying. Of course, at least half of the other babies are going to start doing the same thing. So, and this is when we've created our stubbornness. So how can we expect our partners to do anything different than to act how we are acting?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of embarrassing once you open up to really seeing how you're acting. It is, but you can't heal from it unless you can see it. So.
And Peggy, how does this, talking about, stubborn versus true strength, how does this tie into, and how does that prevent intimacy?
Well, my goodness, as stubborn, if it's I dig my heels in and won't be swayed, my walls are completely up, I only want to cause pain, everyone is wrong but me, I'm not even with me. My partner certainly can't be. And as strength, I am so totally in myself. And as we said in one of our previous videos, soft is strength without fear. So when I'm in my strength, I can be soft and I can let people in. I'm not worried about being hurt because I know how strong I am. And it is such a different experience than being stubborn. And if you only got one thing from all of these videos, please take a look at stubborn.
I love what you just said, Peggy, about when I'm truly in my strength, which is actually that innate experience of myself is soft, that strength without fear, then I'm not worried about being hurt because I know no matter what comes my way, that I have a way to move through it as myself, not with all my barriers and protection up.
Well, and your partner seeing you as soft kind of just melts anyway, so he's not going to come at you in a hurtful way. Never when you are soft. When you are hard or stubborn, you betcha, but we're coming at them too. So, yeah.
And it's so much more enjoyable in a relationship to not be waiting to get hurt, because what happens when we're so defensive against that and constantly trying to protect ourselves from being hurt, what I know in my own experience is that I was just constantly looking for all the ways I thought my partner was hurting me and looking for the negative and looking for what was wrong. When I let those walls down and let go of my stubbornness and find my true strength within myself, then I can just be open to my experience in the relationship. And then I actually start to see the good things. And I look for the positive things. And I look for the reasons to commit to myself and to stay and to put in the hard work. And that is so much more enjoyable.
Well, and as stubborn, we're constantly pushing them away. You know, a lot of the ladies on our Facebook group talk about the men being distant and stuff. But I have to say, with myself and everybody I have worked with, I have seen that we push them away first, over and over and over again in little ways, even if it's just they put their arm around our waist when we're doing dishes and, oh my God, what's he want now?
Yeah.
They can feel that, ladies. Let your walls down. These are good men. Let them be men. If you let them be men, they will treat you like a woman and they will want you.
Thank you, Peggy. So what are the highlights that you want people to take away from what we've been talking about today with strong versus stubborn?
Throw away your 2-year-old constructs. Grow up, become a woman. And in that becoming a woman, you will see how strong you really are. Yeah.
That wraps it up pretty nicely. If you're hearing these things and seeing yourself in this, but you're not really sure where to start or how to change these things in yourself, that's why we're here. And I would love to invite you to send me or Peggy a private message so that we can set up a time to talk and dive into what's going on for you in your marriage and help you get some clarity, and to also see if our program is a good fit for you or not. And if you're ready to make that commitment and ready to transform yourself and your life and your marriage, then we're here waiting to walk beside you on that journey and on that path.
This is the most wonderful gift you could give yourself ever, much less the wonderful gift you're giving your partner. But yes,
that's true. Well, Peggy, thank you for being here today and sharing with us. And I look forward to next time. Peggy and I are going to be live on Friday for a live Q&A. I've been taking notes of some of the questions that are coming up in the group, and we're going to be doing this. I think our goal is to try to do this once a week. So if you have questions, know you can tune into that live, or you can post them on the Facebook group or private message them to Peggy or I, and we're excited to answer those questions.
We'll see you Friday.
Okay, bye. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.